Welcome to Deep Night Revelation. We will be picking up where we left off last week. We've got Pappy this week, but Mel is out, and so he's doing wife things with the wife, and hope he has a good time. But we still have 3 players, so we are moving on. These guys are what is the name of this? I forget the name of this world. It is, well, they have, I don't think it has a name. They have come to Farshore. They have crossed the Great Rift. And in this system, oh, I know how to find it. It is FSR 1, Farshore 1. They have found a moon that is pretty much barren. There is very thin atmosphere. It is uninhabited. It is not a very pleasant place. You can't breathe the atmosphere. It's carbon dioxide and nitrogen. But regardless, there is some lichen and moss growing. And then, out of nowhere, they discovered this large forested area. And there were plants growing there that were not native to the rest of the world. And so they, of course, went and explored and discovered that there was a crashed starship here. And they've discovered that evidently this starship crashed and there were survivors for quite some time. And they found, what was it, 271 graves? So they were here. They were here a while. And they had set up, they had planted, they had biodomes, and they had planted some of their home species of plant life, and they had set up, they had taken the atmospheric processors out and kind of retooled them to pull up the groundwater from these aquifers below ground. And that's what turned this into this verdant, forested area. And they've entered this ship and discovered that they have discovered that through ground penetrating radar and bioscans, they haven't dug anything up yet, but the 271 graves are a mix of human and droid. And they have entered the ships. They found the bridge and they found this science area at the fore of the ship on the top deck. And there is a skeleton sitting in a chair. There's an auto pistol on the floor next to the skeleton. And the screen was active. And when they activated the screen, Mel tried to pull up astrogation and jump data. And a self-destruct mechanism activated. The first part of this that they know about is that it immediately started to delete all of the data. Mel has halted that operation. Not quite as quickly as he would have liked, but we won't know what the damage is until they get out of combat, because the part 2 of that was that the security robots that were basically designed, they were retooled cargo transfer bots, have been awakened. And so they are in combat against a bunch of Amazon cargo trolleys. Before we get started, we'd like to bring attention to the fact that we do have a merch store via Zazzle. The store helps us cover minor costs of things such as Roll20 Pro and Incarnate Pro, which was used to make this map. Even covers the cost of Filmera Wondershare, the software that we use to make these videos. And these aren't huge subscriptions, but they all get together and beat up on us at the beginning of every month. And so the proceeds from the store helps offset that cost. We've got t-shirts and buttons and hoodies, and we've got whiskey rocks glasses and beer steins. There's all sorts of stuff. And 100% of those proceeds goes directly back into the store. Not a lot. I think off of what was it? Like $1.22 was what we make off of actually every whiskey rocks glass. It's not. I have things as low as I can get them to go, because like me, I know that the economy is hurting everybody else, and if you want to buy something cool, you can't afford to pay a whole bunch. So I try to keep everything low. So if you want to help us out, go get yourself a Whiskey Rocks glass, and we appreciate everything you do for us. Also, there is the Braunhaven PDF Easter sale is going on through Tuesday the 22nd, and you can get Braunhaven PDFs for 50% off over on Drive-Thru RPG. So, if you are interested in fantasy games, you like to play Old School Essentials, it is all written for Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy. It will work with Basic. Go get yourself some content for cheap. All right, so we were in mid-combat. Bocephus is at the corpse. Mel has just shut off the deletion. He hacked in and stopped the deletion of the records. Bocephus, make a recon. Actually, before you do that, Pappy, I need you to roll initiative. 2D plus Dex or Intellect, your choice.
2D plus Dex or Intellect. In other words, roll that beefy bean footage.
Is
6.
That's it. Okay. A whole 6.
Whole 6.
And somehow I got you on here. There we go.
Twice.
Yeah. You get to go.
I wasn't sure about that because I saw the character down low and I saw my name up top in the dark. I was like, I don't know which one's
it probably double clicked on. I've got a mouse that's going out. And sometimes when I click something, it will double click. Other times I'll go to click and drag something and it will let go halfway through, and then I invent new curse words and beat my mouse. Honestly, percussive maintenance seems to help a little bit, but I think ultimately a new mouse is in my future.
The neat thing about inventing your own curse words is you can use them anywhere.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Oh man, you should have heard me cussing when I fixed this office chair. Getting that piston out was. I sounded like the dad from Christmas Story. Bumpuses. So, I guess before we bring Pappy needs to be brought up to speed. So Pappy, this is the atmospheric pressure is enough that it is a shirt sleeves environment. So you don't need a spacesuit. You do need, obviously, a mask and oxygen supply because, obviously, you can't breathe nitrogen and carbon dioxide. But everybody else, I think, is wearing spacesuits, or they're wearing the vac suit. I think they went standard.
It's what I would have on because accidents happen.
This one is the one that everybody's wearing.
Yeah. That's what I would go with because, accidents happen and all I need is for my little flimsy mask to get torn and then I'm dead.
Right. Yeah. And then the other question is, what kind of weapons are you packing with you?
I always have my laser backpack now. I feel like that's just become my character's trademark.
Probably not a bad idea. I mean, I think your laser can actually plug directly into the power supply of your vac suit. It does say that in the description. Yeah. So, okay. So, you got your laser rifle. So, Bocephus, make a recon plus intellect check.
7.
Out of the corner of your eye, you see that the file deletion stopped at 60%. So, I mean, according to this bar, I mean, if Windows is to be believed as accurate, I'm not entirely sure it is. That means that 60% of the files that were in the astrogation computer are kaput. They're gone.
Well, and that's, I don't know if about computers that, just because it thinks it's deleted the first time around, it can still be brought back. And we just need to do,
I've seen plenty of guys that got their shit taken to jail because it wasn't as deleted as they thought.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we're in combat. I think I just want to shoot this close one. You know,
This one here.
yeah, I want to just aim and shoot
Okay.
it.
All right.
I think right now, Pappy has just been hanging out smoking, and I want him to finish his smoke break
Right.
before he has to fight because he's a pretty good old boy.
He was waiting on the ship, smoking a blunt, and
Yeah, so
Finally got
You guys like,
curious.
hey, what that is? What?
but I
finally
do
got
want to
curious.
aim, and he's pretty close. So do I get another?
You get a plus
for,
one for range, a plus one for aiming.
All right, so there we go. A 9.
That is a plus one to damage.
Yeah, so this is 4, I believe. Or is it 5? 5D. And then I get another one for the heat round.
Yep.
And then you said how much plus? Plus 1
Plus one.
for damage? Yeah. Well, all right. And then this will have an AP.
Well, it was a plus one to hit.
Yeah. All right. So no pluses on damage then.
No.
All right. All right. Cool. That's 25
Ouch.
with an AP of 6, and I think you multiply that by. Then I get another 5 times 3 for the AP, right? So that's another 15. So that would be 21 AP, I think, with the heap rounds.
Hold on. So,
Or is it double the damage dice?
yeah, let me hold on. It is specialized ammunition. It says for heap. High explosive armor piercing rounds are used, or rounds use shaped charged warheads. Provides a weapon with an AP trait equal to double the number of damage dice it rolls.
Okay, so I'll 16
Okay.
AP.
And then it says before the bonus dice is added for heap ammunition.
Right.
Okay, gotcha,
I've got
gotcha.
5D. Yeah.
Destructive weapons.
5.
Shit, you can put this into a destructive weapon? Holy fuck. And then multiply it by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but don't tell Gregor that.
No.
From Wednesday night's game. He'd be like, I want heap rounds for my 25 millimeter medium autocannon. That's what we need. So that means, let's see, what is your AP normally?
6.
And you do
6 plus 10 is 16.
You do 5d damage.
Yeah.
So
double the damage dice is 10.
So that's
plus
16 AP. He gets no armor. And he's going to eat all 25 of that.
Good.
And you know what? He takes it, and you blow a hole right through the platform of this thing. And its frame is bent. It's all wonky. And it's still going. Wait, that's
that's wonderful.
There we go.
Well, if it took all that and it's still going, then I'm glad I hit it fucking hard.
Yeah, you did. Are you staying where you at? Oh no,
you
aimed. Right, Mr. Sardo. What would you like to do? You've got one behind you. You've got one in front of you.
Yeah, the one behind me has me more concerned.
Yeah.
So I'll aim at it and shoot my shoot auto on the flechette rounds. What the heck is it called? The
using
the pistol, my Gauss pistol. Yeah. So I'll take 2 shots on it.
Yeah, go. You're going full auto on the Gauss pistol.
Aim only affects the first shot, or how does that work with auto?
You cannot aim with auto.
Okay, no problem. That.
I mean,
works.
Yeah.
First shot misses, and second shot also misses.
So
Hold on.
the wall's dead.
The range is 20 meters, so is it within?
I would think. Yeah, you're within 9 meters.
Okay, well, yeah, it's not enough though to get that.
You would have gotten.
It's not getting the boat.
You would have gotten. Let me double check. Oh, range is 20 meters.
Yeah,
that would have been mid-range. Yeah. Okay. Well, you have a minor action. You can move. You can move 6 meters.
It does have a laser sight.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is not a +1.
I have laser sight. Yes, all attack rolls within 50 meters.
So both of those hit.
Yeah, so that looks like it would, but on the nose, so it'd be the 20 damage.
Yeah. Okay.
And it is AP 3.
Okay. Okay. So let's see here.
So.
So he's going to take 15. Yeah, you light him up. You still have a minor action free. If you want to move 6 meters, you can.
That's right. I couldn't aim. Yeah. So no, I think. Yeah, I'm. Well,
I mean, you don't have much cover where you're at.
Yeah, I think I'll move to here, hoping that takes me off the radar of the other one.
Okay. All right. Pappy, what would you like to do? You've got 2 bogeys in here. This one is the closest to you, but there's one over
So am
here.
I this Pappy, or am I this Pappy?
You are this Pappy.
Okay, I cannot see what that Pappy sees. I can only see what this Pappy sees.
Oh, I know why. Hold on. Sorry. I forgot about that. I can change that. And actually, none of this is right. Hold on here.
Actually,
That's my fault.
I'm gonna stay where I was and activate my smart tracker on my gun.
Should I just move this Pappy to where that? Oh shit! Okay, never mind.
Now you can
I see shit now.
Now you can see.
I can see shit.
So I
want to take out a security robot. Is what you
And wow,
look
so,
through
yeah,
my eyes.
yeah, you can see
Alrighty.
whichever one you want to shoot.
Well, we're gonna get the laser, and we're gonna go for the closer one because closer is probably bad.
Yeah,
Plus, it's got a hole in it already.
yeah, that's
Is
true.
this thing right below me some kind of like cargo bin?
Yes, these are ship supplies, cargo bins, etc. There's a number of these all over
How
the place.
tall is it?
About the size of like a. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but like a.
I guess my question is it taller than me, about waist high, or like?
It would. It's probably about thigh high to you. You could duck down behind it. You ever seen?
Okay.
My wife would call it a hope chest, but they're not a hope chest. They're like that's what they're called. Steamer trunks. Have you ever seen a steamer trunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about like that size.
Okay. Cool. All right, then I'm gonna take a knee and stabilize my shot against this thing.
Okay, I
And
will give
fire
you a +1 for that.
Alrighty.
I would consider that aiming. And you get a plus with your laser rifle. You get a +1 for range, so that's a +2 total
Oh, sweet.
to hit.
I'm glad I asked the question.
That is a hit for 23, which means
Thank goodness for those pluses.
he's going to take another 15. Man. So Pappy's laser hits this bot, and it is now, its tires are on fire, and he scores it really bad, but it is still rolling around.
Wow.
The bots. I will start the bottom of the screen.
What you're saying is
Oh,
be afraid
here's-
of these bots. They are very durable.
That's why there's two Pappies. I see. I see what I was. I see what I was doing last week. This bot down here.
There can be only one.
There can be only one, right? This bot is going to take a shot at Sarda. Ooh, an 11.
That'll hit.
That's a +3 to damage. For 15. So your standard vac suit would have 10 protection, so 5 would get through.
That sucks.
This bot is going to take a shot at Pappy.
How much cover is this crate giving me?
Oh, that's true. He would miss because that would be a -1. He hits the crate. It would have hit you, but it does hit the crate. And this
Yay.
one is going to fire on Bocephus. And miss. He hits the skeleton. The skeleton is now on fire. Little did you know that skeletons are... Oh, shit. I see. That's better. Okay. Bocephus, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna hit that son of a bitch again.
Do it. You gotta aim again and...
Yeah.
That
12
is a
then?
hit. Yeah, with a +4 to damage.
All right.
And he gets no armor. Oh, yeah.
25 again?
So Bocephus hits this bot and it blows up. It literally explodes into a shower of electronic parts. Sarda.
I'll fire 2 more shots at this guy down south
Okay.
of me.
All right. Go full auto. And you get a +1 to that. So the 9, that's +1, so that's 12. And that's an 8 for 13. All right. So let's see here.
And I'll activate my smart tracker as the remaining action. But yeah, and they're both AP3.
You did your smart tracker last round.
Yep.
You have to do it every round.
Oh.
It provides a +2. It's better than aiming.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
And it works with auto.
Yeah.
8. All right. So, yeah, you pepper this thing with a shower of bullets or slugs.
Yep. Flechettes.
Yes, from your Gauss pistol. And it is still moving around. It's got a lot of holes in it, though. Pappy.
It's like a mini railgun.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Alrighty, I will adjust myself to... I assume these smaller crates are the same size or similar size or like super smaller?
These are a little bit, these here are a little bit smaller. I would say these are like milk crate size. So you would have to use your minor action to kind of lay down behind them.
You have to go prone.
Yes.
All right.
But you
I'll go
could
prone
easily,
here.
if you were like right here, which you could easily get to, you could easily lay down and target this guy over here.
It's the plan. I'm going to go prone here, use these 2 milk crates in front of me to help obscure, and go for that one.
Okay. So you would
That's
only get...
not going to give me the +1, though.
Right, you get a +1 for range, but not for aiming because you had to use your minor action to go prone.
That's why I'm still in good range. Okay, nice. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, that laser rifle's got a hell of a lot of range on it. Ooh, Yeah. Okay. So this guy.
28 minus whatever minus is.
Oh, Pappy drills it, and the whole thing goes up in a burst of fire, and just kind of and stops over here in the foliage. It is down and out. The security robot, they're robots, so they don't have to make, morale checks or anything like that, is going to shoot at Sarda. And miss.
All right.
Yeah, it scores the wall above Sarda. Bocephus, what would you like to do?
Well, Sarda's been hit down there.
Yes, he has.
Yep.
But the
You
computer's
know
right
this
here.
because you could hear over the comm. Ouch! Fuck! God damn
Yeah.
it!
Right in the elbow.
Yes, my
Yeah.
pinky! You bastard!
Can I try to use the computer to deactivate security robots?
You can make an electronics computers plus intellect or education check. And you get a +3 to that. God, I've been reading too many books today. I had to use my fingers to fucking count that. God damn, my brain is toast.
Some days I like
17.
that.
Ooh. So, yes, you can deactivate. You get in there, kind of shim your way in through what Mel has already done, and you deactivate the security robots. But in that time, you see another timer, and it says in strangely close to Anglic, it says reactor meltdown imminent, and it says that it will happen in 11 minutes.
That's not good.
No, we've got to go. This guy on this chair laying here and all that, does he have like a little small computer or anything?
Yes, there is a hand computer. There is a tablet, hand terminal, portable computer, whatever you want to call it, that is in their lap, and their one arm is kind of dangling off the chair, and on the ground is a what looks to be an auto pistol.
I'm gonna scoop up that tablet, and if that takes a minor action, then I'll only get 2 others, which is 12 meters.
Yes.
So play self-destruct and let's get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. We got to go.
Okay. So, Sarda, he tells you that the place is going to blow. I mean, you guys can all move. Here, let's just do it easily. I will just. I'm assuming everybody's fucking running. Is that?
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah,
I think
so.
that's a safe bet.
And I was running.
Yeah, everybody make your choice, either athletics dexterity or athletics endurance check. If you don't have the athletic skill for that, you would just roll 2d plus your dex or plus your endurance.
After being shot, I'm definitely going with Dex.
10.
Wow, you guys
Woo!
smoked it.
You
Okay.
don't got to tell us to get the fuck out twice. We will
Right?
get
Yeah. He said we gotta go. I said okay.
My endurance is currently down to 3. I was Not gonna
Oh yeah,
go,
yeah.
go that route.
Yeah, you're stumbling along. You got. I'm very badly burned. Every time the suit's like rubbing against it.
Yeah, yeah, you'll be okay. Look, I've been thinking about this fucking combat organ package, and it's got some really great fucking benefits after a
Well,
slight
I mean,
prick and some healing.
so did Sarda take any strength or dexterity damage?
No,
Okay.
I'm just down. I'm down 5
Yeah,
endurance out of it. Out of 8.
Yeah, so I mean, your first aid, you know, he
Yeah.
he needs some Bactine and some burn cream. He'll be fine, and a
Yeah, I'll
Hello
take
Kitty
care of
Band-Aid.
him. Yeah, I'll take care of him when we get out of the blast
So
radius.
yeah, you guys
mean-
run out. I showed this picture for Pappy. This is the down spacecraft that you were inside of, and you make your way back out into the forest that is surrounding this thing, and we'll replace Mel.
Oh, it's he who cuts.
He
oh,
is
right.
one of the
Yeah, he's one of the guys that they brought along so that they could have somebody to literally
Cut the
to
trail.
cut the trail. Yeah, he literally is he who cuts. Here, copy. There we go.
we wanted somebody to help clear the path through the dense jungle, you
Yeah.
know, and so I asked for a real big guy that could swing it at, and we got he who cuts, who uses robotic little drones to cut.
Yeah, he's an Erline, one of the Erline that came with you, and he
Mhm.
uses. They don't do anything by hand if they can use a robot, and so he had a little drone that just went through and macheted vegetation out and made the path. But you guys run out the path and get on the other side of the river, and this whole ship it doesn't explode. That's not what fusion reactors do. It Chernobyls, more or less. Everything that a fusion reactor does is more of a meltdown. It's not a boom. There's no pressure, but the plasma just comes out and goes ape. So 1 hex is 1.5 kilometers. I'm guessing this is probably a lot bigger, or would be a lot bigger. What the fuck is going on? Oh, sorry, my cat.
There's another Pappy.
Oh yes, I forgot there is another Pappy. We can. Yes, there's just clones of
Just
Pappy.
admit it.
all
You
over-
love Pappy.
Yes.
You love Pappy a lot.
Well, Bocephus has been cloning and
Oh no.
gross. So yeah, it's this thing comes out like this, and pretty much everything in that red area is all vaporized from plasma. But it doesn't seem to go any further than that. This wreck is been here a long time, and it was the reactor was very low on fuel. So, but yeah, the graves, everything on the surface is just all charred and destroyed from plasma. What would you guys like to do at this point?
Well, glad
I
I
like-
documented what I could when I did.
Yeah, I got that tablet, and I'll hand it to Sarda as I will provide first aid.
Good idea. Go ahead and make a medic plus education check.
Thank you. You're looking for a
And
13.
then I've got this TL14 thing that gives me +3.
Yes,
med
you do.
kit.
Yes, you do.
There you go. 15.
Perfect.
That is
Feel-
6 back.
Feeling great.
Yeah. That Hello Kitty Band-Aid is some good stuff.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, yeah, this will probably be okay for now, but we need to make sure you don't get infected or anything. Just as soon as we are able to get back to Deepnight, meet me in the med bay and I'll check you over real good.
It sounds good, but I'm feeling fine.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
feeling better. I'm
Yes.
happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
No, you're
Thank
not. You're
you.
right dead.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's not an order or nothing. But I mean, the doctors always tell you that. They'll be like, "Oh, you caught your dick in a blender, but I'll put a Band-Aid on it. Come see me in a week, and we'll look at it."
It still goes up and down. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
It goes up now?
so yeah, this whole
looks like a
area
Pom
is
pom for the cheerleaders.
yes. This whole area is now just wasted. It's just a big smoldering crater from this flaming hot plasma that has come out of the core, and the ship's slagged. Like there's nothing left in here. Everybody can make a recon plus intellect check.
Yeah, I'm looking at Sarda, going, man, I could really give you a couple of new arms that would.
So Sarda and Pappy, you're kind of watching this devastation in this forest, and it occurs to you that depending on how deeply those graves were dug, there might still be some remains that are left, but it really depends. I mean, if they were dug like what 2 meters deep, they're probably okay. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of these graves, being the survival situation that it was,
Yeah, they weren't buried as deep.
maybe not 1.5 to 2 meters deep. I mean, they might be, if they're 1 meter deep, you might be lucky.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do anything with the bodies either way. So
Yeah, but Bocephus might, throw a dog a bone.
Man, I mean,
Right?
yeah, it's
I might
interesting.
recognize that, but I don't think I'd bring it up to Bocephus. So I'm not putting two and two together that way. I'd probably go.
When they discovered the graves, Bocephus' first question was, "Can you get any DNA samples for me?" Like, I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I think I said we'll come back later for core samples.
Right.
Yeah.
So the question is, what are you doing from here?
I might have recognized that there's bodies left, but I'm not bringing it up to Bocephus.
Yeah, no, we just need to go back to Deepnight and report in, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we get any hard data at all from the computer to give us any idea? We got it. Okay.
He did grab the tablet.
Right.
Bocephus, you can make another electronics computers plus intellect or education check.
11.
So there is some data on here. Some very, I mean, it's not the astrographic data that you were hoping for, but it does show that
a porno called astrograph.
Right. Isn't that one of those things?
It's all porn.
That's one of those gear-shaped things that you put a pencil in. Oh, no, that's a spirograph. It does show you some minor amounts of information. And it does show that about 4 parsecs from here, there is a star system. And that star system has a small gas giant.
Sounds promising. I'll head sort of the unlocked tablet and be like, is there that mine hunting game on this thing? I can't find it.
Yeah. I'll start poking around, seeing what we can figure out. Is this in a language I can even recognize?
It is, and it is the same language from the people that you rescued from Far Colony Postulant. And it is good that you bring that up. So, Pappy, you can make a piloting starship plus dexterity check, since you get back to the ship. Your job of destroying the forest is done here.
Uh-oh.
No, you only needed a 6 to lift off. So you take off and you are jetting towards Atmo. Because of all of the interaction that you've had with the people from Far Colony Postulant, and you have the engineer and a couple of other, well, at least one other crew member from Far Colony Postulant aboard, you are able to speak this language. And this language is called, and I'll type this out so that it is called Aldarth. And it is
Old Earth, got it.
very, very similar to Anglic. It has some anachronistic qualities to it that the researchers have found correlate to idioms and language that was used during the rule of man. So the rule of man being the second Imperium. And not necessarily the second Imperium. Specifically, it has idioms and terminology that were used around the Soleimani area around the rule of man. So we're talking about a language that has survived since the Long Night. And the Long Night was a period where, so the rule of man kind of fucked up. Soleimani Empire at that time was called the Old Earth Union. Pretty much was the second Imperium, and they evidently weren't as good at it as the Volani were, and they screwed everything up. The economy went to shit, and everything crashed. And so there was no government. There was no protection between the star systems. There was no communication between the star systems. There was mass pandemonium. And this went on for a long time, and it was called the Long Night. It was basically the Traveler Dark Ages. And a lot of shit happened. And that is where this language kind of came from.
Very cool.
So, yes, Pappy gets you guys back to Deepnight, and you have this tablet that is saying that there is a system within 4 parsecs, and there's a gas giant for refueling, and it is heading in the direction that you want to go. It is deeper into the far shore region.
Well, I guess that's where we're headed,
Okay.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah.
And then,
So you guys can, well, Josephus, during this week, are you studying or are you doing research? Or what are you doing?
man, I am trying to take another DNA sample off that, I'd gotten a few of them. And so I'm going to try to take another of the ancient droid DNA sample and see if I can cook up one with good wings. Aye.
Okay. So you can go ahead and make a biology, science biology plus education check.
13.
So, and I need to look at this. There's some.
Well, Chirpy needs a friend.
Yes, you do get some DNA. Specifically, though, the DNA that you get is very similar to what you find with Chirpy. Now, the other crew member that you brought along from Far Colony Postulant was the other droid, and the other droid, as you are doing your research, comes to you, kind of away from Chirpy, and I mean he is this other droid that you brought on. Make a recon plus intellect check.
7.
So he comes to you, and he spent some time with Chirpy. What, like a couple of weeks now?
Yeah.
And he brings up to you. He points out. He says that he thinks that, and he is fully aware that Chirpy was grown and isn't natural. And that is a little weird to him. I mean, that you have the technology to do that is a little bit strange to him, and maybe a little scary. But he does. I mean, he's accepted that, well, he's here now, so he needs education. But he tells you that he believes that he is what he calls. He just says he thinks that he is an Inasusk droid. They are casteless. He says, I have done what I can to try to impress upon him the droid ways, and I've tried to one of the things that you had him do is try to determine what caste Chirpy was going to go into.
Yeah.
And his response is that he thinks he's casteless. He has traits of all the castes. And he says that where he comes from, there is a world, Inasjusk, that has a population of droid that are outside the norm, and they are casteless. And he believes that he might be one of those. And he points out some physical traits. He says, well, look at his face. And Chirpy's face, he has more of like a bird-like beak kind of face, whereas this droid, a normal droid, does not. They're more of a flatter face, more of a lizard kind of a flying lizard kind of face, and he tells you, he says that he has noticed that Chirpy's stunted wings are growing.
Oh, now that sounds fun. I like the sound of that. When I began this project, I really wanted to envision these guys don't worry about shooting lasers out of their eyes.
Yeah, he I mean, they're not shooting lasers.
Comic book.
Yeah, no. But he calls him a specific thing. What does he say? He says that the droin of Innisjusk rejected the casting process. He says
So he's
he says that
more inclined to.
well, he says most populations that reject the casting process become like chirpers, and you've seen chirpers in Charted Space.
Yeah.
They're kind of like stunted droin, but these aren't like that, and they do have a home world in the region that he's from. And he's from the Commonwealth. He's from the planet Maine, and they just kind of, I mean, he says something in Oinprinth, and it translates to super droin. Is the closest translation that your translator can come up with.
Well, thank you. Do you think it would be beneficial to continue spending time with him, or do you think that maybe he ought to go around and spend time around other crew members to so he'd have more experiences where he might find his path that he wants to walk on?
Well, he thinks that that's an interesting situation in and of itself, because I mean, this isn't really his bailiwick, because this, if I remember correctly, he was like what, a worker droin or
that's right.
technician or something like that. And so I mean he thinks that Chirpy could benefit, but at the same time, because Chirpy is unnatural, he's not sure how much he can imprint upon him. And so Chirpy has both the situation of being genetically different, as well as basically he had the Venture Brothers sleep pod training system that you gave him during his progress. And so this droid's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to continue working with him. I don't know how much benefit I'm going to be, though.
Well, I mean, we're not trying to make him the droid of his people. We're just, we're wanting to learn about droid and what made you, the same as we do everybody. And what better way to do that would be to experience the way that with the difference between environmental cues that you guys pick up versus genetic ingrained DNA cues that you guys pick up, and so this
right,
is really
that's kind of what he's trying to explain to you, is that genetically most droid at the coming of age ceremony they are thrust into a caste, and that's where they gain most of their lifelong abilities. That's kind of like their that's where the droid character gets their starting skills.
Yeah.
And
well,
he's not sure that, I mean, he, like you said, he's willing to continue working with him, but he's not sure that you're going to get any kind of real benefit out of it.
Well, then let's see if we can get Turpy to go through Sarda's program, where like he does all
his training program.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get socialized, he'll meet more crew, he'll get to do things. Maybe he doesn't need to touch some magic coins. He just needs to figure out what he likes and go.
What I will tell you, and this is dealing with mechanics, but let me pull up the right book here. I want to.
Maybe we need a garbage goober.
So when you get a chance, You don't have to do it right now, obviously. It is in the sourcebooks folder, Aliens of Charted Space, Volume 2. Chirpy, so usually Droin roll 2d for all of their characteristics. Chirpy gets to roll 2d plus 3 for everything except for social. So social.
You said Aliens in Charted Space 2?
Yeah, Volume 2. So
and what page do we talk about?
It is
138?
That sounds right. Let me double check. It's like Droin as Travelers.
Chapter 12, the Droin. It's got the history of
page 187.
187. There's a 187 in progress. All right. Okay, and this would be the...
So if you want to roll up stats for Chirpy, this is how you would do it. The difference is that unlike what they say in here, instead, for everything except for social attribute, you would roll 2d plus 3. So his average is going to be 10, and his given range is anywhere from 5 to 15 for attributes. Keep in mind, 18 is the max.
And then what career path do I take?
Well, that is up to you. So I don't necessarily. So as far as the career paths in here, you can ignore the Droin career paths because he is castless and he's not being trained amongst Droin. So he could pick any career path out of the core rulebook. Technically speaking, probably naval.
Entertainer.
He's gonna be a bard. He's gonna be the fucking rock star. He just keeps referring to keeps referring to Bocephus, telling him, "You're not my real dad," and he's like gonna get an electric guitar, and he's gonna wear an emo wig, wear black eyeliner with those big eyes. Yes, right.
Let's put him in charge of karaoke night.
Right. Yes. The crew are gonna love him.
I will work on him, and I'm gonna do it real randomized on how he goes by his interest and everything. So it'll be less of me reading the results of the dice, so to speak, I guess.
Right. But, yeah. So like I said, if you want to roll him up as a character, you can. But computer models, putting in this new information, shows you that this is probably what he will look like as an adult.
Hell yeah. That's a wing set right there. That's a buddy we can be proud of to roll up in for diplomatic missions. He looks honorable and wholesome.
And look at those claws on the feet.
I know, man.
Somebody needs
when
a
you look
mani-pedi.
at his species, yeah, he's got that good predator, carnivorous predator look about him. That's what you want.
Yeah, and like I said, if he has more of a bird-like beak as opposed to most Droin. Anyways, so that's what you find out about Chirpy. Pappy, are you studying or are you doing something else with your weekend jump? You're muted. Brian?
I forgot I was muted. My bad. I've been working on an athletics check.
Yes.
I have 1 period and 3 weeks done, so I need another 5 weeks.
Okay. So yeah, you can add a study week to that. What about Sarah?
I need to make a roll. This is my 8th week on vac suit.
Yeah.
For my first, this will be my first study period if this succeeds.
Vac suit plus education.
Cancel.
Or I guess that's education. Vac suit plus education. Nice. There's your first week.
Sweet. So it's first period successful.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Let me...
I think I'm going to call them the Skeksis variant
The
of the
Skeksis
drawer.
are...
That's great.
So at the end of the week, you get the usual semi-nauseous feeling of coming out of jump that you've all kind of gotten used to into the system that was found in the tablet and on the computer. And this is the system. I should probably throw... you guys up here and show where we can put you. And so this system, what do we get here? That's pretty good. So
It's looking like a pretty nice planet there, that X77.
yeah, this is not a terrible system. This is more closely what the rest of the crew was kind of fantasizing about as what their first landfall in Farshore would be. The star is they're calling this Farshore 02K6 because it is a K6 primary star. The first planet up here is they're calling it a single primary because it's actually two planetoids that are orbiting each other extremely fast. But of all of the other planets in the system, the fourth planet, I guess the third planet here, is of the most interest. It is showing an atmosphere that is slightly tainted. There is plenty of water. The average surface temperature is a little low. But the planet does have life. There are sheets of ice in the higher latitudes with a habitable zone stretching about 30 degrees north and south of the equator. Most of this zone is water, but there is enough land to be considered a small continent and a few island archipelagos. What would you? I mean, this is a pretty nice planet.
Yeah.
And there's a
So
small gas giant here that you can refuel, and I mean, Deepnight can refuel, send you guys in the Destinex.
I think it's time to have shore leave and real recreation for a bit.
Okay.
Sounds like a great idea.
I haven't had a nice planet in a while. And I don't know if there's any long-term work the ship needs or anything now that we've come out of the rift.
That's a really good question. So, Deepnight
scrape the barnacles off.
Deepnight spends 6 days refueling and then heads to this planet and parks itself in orbit. And the captain and XO authorize shore leave. Pretty much everybody is glad to be able to touch ground on a fairly nice planet. Engineering comes to you, and before you guys have had. All of you have had 3 days of ground time, recreation. People are off hunting. There are some. There's not any major wildlife. There are some small wildlife, but there is lots of plant life, and so people are foraging, hunting. You are called back to Revelation. Engineering this time, the XO kind of kept it down low. In the chief engineer came to him and brought some concerns to him, and so the XO ordered the engineering team to remain aboard and do some major stuff, diagnostics, and what came back is not looking good. Internal fatigue has weakened major components of the jump drive, and it will possibly require removal and remachining. Some of the parts are going to need to be replaced entirely. Now, a jump drive is essentially like a reactor. You don't usually take these things apart in space. They're saying, if we were to stay here and do this ourselves, without a dry dock, we're talking about months that we'd be stuck here. It says the engineering tells you that.
Well, we've built a dry dock before.
True. It says could probably be months if carried out in space, although the duration could be reduced to 10 to 15 days if we had access to even a basic dockyard. This would be preferable, as in-space repair might not fully succeed, in which case the degradation would begin anew. And essentially what he's telling you is that normally this drive can jump 4 parsecs. With the degradation, that's going to dump it down to about 3 parsecs, and that's going to go further and further until it finally just stops working or we misjump completely. And then when we misjump, the drive is just kaput and isn't going to work anymore at all. So that's the bad news. The ship's scientists, so you're in this meeting with the ship's personnel, and the ship's lead scientists tell you they have detected radio signals rimward, in the direction that that you would be normally traveling, and they recommend continuing moving on, limping along and keeping an eye on the drive, and hopefully we can find the source of those signals. And we're hoping that it is a technological race, and maybe we can do a dry dock there. And if we don't, we can keep the possibility of having to build our own dry dock in our pocket and have to do that, as a plan B. Is kind of what they're recommending.
Yeah, I mean that's an all right theory, I guess, but we need to be thinking about the hairy hand in the dark, and we don't, all right, cool, they've got radio technology, and they might want to try to take us and turn us into slaves, and use our innards for guitar strings. We need to fix our ship and take the time and just get it done right here, and then approach a new society. Trying to approach a new society with our hand out begging put us in a very bad spot, could jeopardize our mission.
Okay. What does Pappy think?
Pappy's a pilot. Pappy's like, look, man, I want the ship fixed.
Yeah, I don't want our home to be, broken.
So I've got 4 ranks in engineering jump drive, so I probably have a pretty good idea of what needs to be done. The big thing is that we haven't had any signs of other civilizations in terms of a dry dock.
So with 4 ranks in engineering jump drive, what you're seeing, what the engineers have brought you in a normal situation, the J drive would be completely pulled from the ship and replaced with a new one.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Overhaul and the Navy probably would junk what was left. You got to keep in mind that we're talking about a ship that has been going for 7 years straight with Band-Aid dry docks along the way, and you guys have done like minor, what you guys are calling overhauls, would not pass muster with the Imperial Navy. So you're band-aiding this along. There are deck plates that are kind of warped that just didn't get fixed. There's a gravity problem, just outside of the bridge where it fluctuates a little bit. There's some lights that flicker still. You've kept her running very well, but this is a situation where they would pull the engine and replace it with a new one if they were to rebuild it. I mean, you've never heard, at rank 4 in engineering J drive, you've never heard of anybody attempting to do something like this in space.
Well, we can definitely give lists of the components needed and have those have folks begin fabricating the components to start assembling replacement parts, just under the assumption we can identify which pieces would actually need to be completely replaced and which ones would need to be patched up. So I think we could at least get a head start on manufacturing.
Well, all right. I understand Deepnight's not streamlined, right? I mean, that's not necessarily saying it's impossible to land this motherfucker.
Well,
Right?
It's 75,000 tons. I don't
think it can handle the.
Yeah, I mean it. Let me.
If the planet didn't have an atmosphere, that might make it easier. But I think anything with an atmosphere is really going to be problematic.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I mean, even then, I mean, if we picked one of these other planets around here that might not have an atmosphere, wouldn't that, just asking here, wouldn't that make
it is
easier?
It is a standard hull at 59,400 tons. That's just the hull. Oh man, you better hope that there's no atmo, because an atmosphere is just going to break this thing apart. I mean, you're talking about a big negative to whoever's piloting. And it does. I don't think
He knows better than to try some crazy shit like that.
Yeah, I don't think it would have any landing gear. So I mean,
okay.
So I mean, not a terrible idea, but it does conjure. I remember watching Star Trek Voyager, and they decided at one point to land Voyager, and they were going to do some overhaul repairs, and I'm like, no, those ships are not designed to land. Like that is not.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, no, I would agree with Pappy that this would just probably break apart.
All right. Well, then, I mean, I think we ought.
I don't know how we meet the need that we have, but I don't think landing is the way.
Okay. Well, I mean, just brainstorming. Is there a planet in this system that doesn't have an atmosphere?
About that moment, the alarm klaxons go off.
Of course they do.
Yes, naturally. And word from the bridge comes down that a ship has emerged from jump. They are registering it as being 400 tons, but it is at long range. And I need to look at sensors.
So we're not getting a lot of detail on it.
That's what I was just going to say. Let's see here. Spacecraft operations says... So it's at very long. They got minimal visual, minimal thermal, minimal EM, minimal active radar and LiDAR, no passives, no NAS, and no densitometer. So they're from the minimal visual, thermal, and EM and active radar, LiDAR. They are estimating that it's in the 400-ton range, anywhere
All right.
between 200 and 600 tons. And they here.
I don't know if there's something that helps identify stuff from range based on what the sensor data is able to pick up. Kind of like, you know, the old, you know, World War II, they had the outlines of the ships, you know.
Right, what they would call a war book.
Right. And so you're sitting there going, you know, based on a certain tonnage and emissions and everything. But I don't think we're going to be running into ships we're familiar with either out here. So
right, yeah, with the minimal on the visual. Let's see. They are hailing you.
Answer that call.
So a flurry of curse words comes in,
Nice.
and the translation comes out. You're not Commonwealth. You're bigger than the whole empire. You'd better not be Republic. Who the fuck are you people?
We're from the Imperium. We just crossed the breach. We've traveled many jumps to get here.
Everybody can roll a... Go ahead and roll language Aldarth plus intellect or education, your choice.
You say roll language. What? Where?
So everybody can get. I'm sorry. Now that you know the language that is being used, everybody gets language Aldarth at 0.
No. So I should have at least. So should my language be trained at least then?
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, you get it at 0. I mean,
got a 14.
your language is already trained. I mean, you already know how to speak Anglic at least.
Okay, cool. Just making sure because
Holy
it wasn't
shit.
one of my ones that was checked on my sheet, so I didn't know.
Bocephus got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You all got it. So, the litany of curse words that are coming in over the comms, you all recognize are archaic expletives that can be described in the linguistics database, but they all have Terran origin.
Yeah. Well, we're not the Republic.
So Sarda, you tell her that you're from the Imperium. You've just crossed the rift, and this woman. So your comms officer is able to get a visual image, and you see a dark brunette woman with several other human crew members behind her. I mean, she's dressed and she looks like she could be standing on the bridge of Revelation. I mean, she looks exactly the way most of your crewmates do. And she introduces herself as Captain Milena Clayton. And she says, well, you are really, really lucky. Because it doesn't sound like you are from this region. She says,
That is correct.
she says, I happen to know this region very, very well. And you are lucky because this is a very dangerous place. We've got the Commonwealth, we've got the Grand Republic, we've got the Empire, the Empire. She says it is a hotbed of danger, but I know how to navigate it. And if you are newcomers, I mean, the first place that you're going to want to go is Tradeport.
How large a dry dock do they have?
So she says, well, information isn't exactly free. I mean, this should be a tit for tat. She says, why don't you invite me aboard your ship and we can have a discussion?
Certainly. Come aboard our ship.
Okay, so indeed she does. Oops, that's the wrong button.
Whether her intentions are nefarious or not, Pappy will discern in bed.
Yes.
Bocephus, do we need to do that thing where we give her a cup and then make sure to get DNA samples from it after she's drunk from it?
Pappy will bone the truth out of her.
We can do that. I am really going to spend my time trying to read her thoughts.
Interesting. So there is a Ford landing bay down here, and she brings in a 400-ton ship that looks like... Well, I can show you a picture of its deck plans. The ship is registered as Clayton's Chariot, and it looks like this.
Nice
You
ship
wanna
you
get
got
a
there.
good, you want to get a
Definitely
good scan of that, Sarda?
Not designed for aesthetics.
Yeah, no, it is fugly.
Looks like a ship of war to me.
Well, actually, Pappy, you can roll. Go ahead and roll StarCraft. Roll piloting StarCraft plus intellect or education, your choice.
Piloting StarCraft. Got it. I have 0 in education, so it's always going to be intellect.
That works.
But it's Starship, not StarCraft.
So looking this thing over, you've flown a lot of ships. You look this thing over, and you can tell that this is not a not necessarily a ship of war. This would be... you've seen ships similar to this, though. Mostly this design of ship is very reminiscent of a Soleimani design. And it, to your eye, you determine that this thing probably is a multi-role type ship. Specifically, these are its stats.
That's really not a bad ship. I mean, considering, most areas that we've come across don't have any kind of TL. The technical level's getting higher.
So the ship docks. You guys meet her in the Ford pod, and this woman steps off of the ship, and she steps off, and she is wearing, to tight-fitting leather pants. She's got a pistol on each hip. She's got a leather jacket on. I mean, she looks the part, right? And she comes stepping off, and she says, well, let me be the first to welcome you to our little region of space. She says, so this is Clayton's chariot. This is my ship. She says, yeah. She says, I used to be in the Commonwealth military, but I had a disagreement with my commanding officer, and so he was completely wrong, because the Commonwealth, all they want to do is promote incompetence, and so I decided to quit, and I hired on as an astrogator for this lovely beast here, and through some shrewd maneuvering, I'm now its captain. She says, but I offer trade to the multitudes across this region. She says, now, aside from folks like myself and those of the Commonwealth or the Empire or the Republic, she says, you will run into a number of star systems where there would be more barbaric peoples living. This region has a history, and some of the populations haven't been uplifted yet, so they would be what you guys would call techno-barbarians. They're eking out a tech level 2 through 3 kind of lifestyle. But she says not all of them, are chased off by seeing a starship, and so I go off the normal trade routes and I sell things to people that need these or items. She says, so she says, I would really like to know, a little bit more. You said you're from the Imperium. Where's that?
I'll bring up a holographic display on my wrist showing where we currently are, and then basically just showing each jump we've taken to get to where we are currently.
So she is fascinated by that, and she goes over your hologram, and so she says, so are you? I mean, this is. She says, I'm not going to lie. This is the biggest ship that anybody in this region is going to see.
That's not surprising. It's the largest ship any of us have ever seen previous to getting on it. We're on a very long-term assignment. Our intention is to fly through your territory. We don't want to cause political rifts. We don't really want to get involved in political arguments.
So she starts laughing, and she says, well, she goes, just showing up in this ship is going to probably cause some political situations, because everybody's going to be interested in a boat this size. She says, but that's another reason why you're lucky you met me, because I have contacts all throughout these areas. She says, I can negotiate any deal you need.
Didn't you just tell us that you are a someone who went AWOL from their previous assignment?
I didn't go AWOL. I resigned. I properly resigned my commission. I didn't go AWOL.
And then managed to benefit from the death of at least 2 commanding officers on your current ship?
There was no deaths involved. I just proved that I was the better person to be captain of Clayton's chariot.
I'm just wondering that when and if we have to negotiate with large political governments, whether or not your reputation will help or harm us.
Everybody likes me. Everybody likes me because I bring stuff to the people that they can't get any other way.
A smuggler, my kind of person.
Smuggling is such Such a bad word.
We need to replace our jump drives, and best place to do that is going to be a large dry dock. Where
And-
would be the best place within a few jumps?
And exactly as I told you. She says, Tradeport is the place that you're going to want to go. They have the biggest docks. They even have a shipyard there. She says, I'm
Perfect.
sure that I can set you up with a well-negotiated deal. She says, if you care to take me along with you, she says, that would be ideal.
Do we have space for her ship on board ours?
Yes, yeah, I think they're doing some hand waving here. They claim
Okay.
that you can.
All right.
Actually,
I mean, 400 tons big, but I know our ship's got pretty big docks.
looking at the
Well-
stat.
We
Yeah,
haven't, we
Have
haven't
yeah.
wants to look over her ship.
Yeah, it will. It
We-
will. It will allow it.
we haven't lost too many ships, so
That's true.
The thing is that we're on a mission that it benefits you already. So if you're going to negotiate our deal, I mean, or try to interject yourself into our negotiations, it should be with the understanding that our mission is to save your existence and everything you know.
She says, "Well, sounds like a pretty grandiose mission." She says, "Here's what Here's what I can tell you." She says, "The dominant starfaring species of this region are humans from a world called Terra." She says, "But it's far off. I don't know how to get there. You guys know that Terra is about 670 parsecs trailing from your current position." Sorry, I had to think about that for what's the word? But yeah, it would be trailing. She says, there are two other species, the most prominent being Droin. Some are mixed, some are not. They have their own home worlds, of course. Most of the Droin live on Commonwealth worlds. She says there, as I said, there are significant neo-barbarian populations, both human and Droin. She says that the main powers in the region are the Commonwealth and the Grand Republic. She says the Empire of Enveus will claim that they're a major power, but they're not. And she says, don't let them fool you. It's generally better to treat their emissaries as if they were, though, because they're kind of jerks. She says the Commonwealth is a federation of homeworlds and their possessions. They have, a military that wastes talent over petty politics and promotes incompetence for failure. And then she goes on to a rant of swearing. She says, then there's the Grand Republic. It's a much tighter organization. She says, yeah, you hear bad things about the Grand Republic, back home, but I've since met some of their ships and crews, and they seem pretty okay. Very smartly tuned out, nice ships, not trigger-happy goons at all. The Empire of Enveus is a bunch of trigger-happy goons, and that is the best that I can say about them. They are the nearest major power to us right now, astrographically. She says, imagine a sack full of cats, and that they only stop clawing one another long enough to gang up on someone else. They're mean, vindictive, and very dangerous. And she says, but I can help you deal with them. She says that currently, she says, my ship, Clayton's Chariot, is on contract to a merchant consortium that operates out of Tradeport. And she says, this is a stupid mission. Trade scouting is what they call it. Basically, it means I'm seeding, local low and mid-tech worlds with cheap products in order to create a bigger demand. She says, in follow-up missions, I could make a killing. But, Tradeport is the only major starport. It's a neutral port. And it was set up by someone a while ago because, I don't know, reasons. Who cares? It is a neutral port with decent facilities, and it is safe enough if you tread carefully, and I can help you tread carefully. You would be lost without me.
I don't
Right.
trust the motherfucker that talks the way this person is talking. I'm
At all.
sorry. At all. I'm kind of like, well, this is all a lot, and perhaps you and your crew could check your weapons.
Oh, certainly, we'd be happy to.
Go ahead
Yeah.
and let's park.
She pulls
let's
out
par-
two auto pistols and flips them around and just holds butt ends up and says,
Oh.
"Here you go."
Let's park your ship in our hangar, and then you can give us some astrogation data so that we can get to this port.
Certainly,
Yeah.
certainly. She says, "So
But
I
you'll
wanna look at
take
the
me
ship
along
over,
with
like,
you."
As the pilot, I would be like, I love your ship, though. I haven't seen one like this in a while. I'd love to get a better look at her.
She comes over and pats you on the shoulder. She says, "I'd be happy to give you a full tour of the chariot."
Yeah, I don't trust her for shit.
yep, I want to read them surface thoughts.
Okay, go ahead and make a telepathy plus psi check. Okay,
That'll be a 12.
so let's see. So you're reading her surface thoughts. Is rather obvious that she's trying to set herself up to be a middleman. She's willing to let certain information go for cheap or for free if it suits her purposes. In particular, she wants you to think that you are entering a minefield of dangerous local politics. And you also are reading that is more or less true. And that you couldn't survive without her. She's also thinking that whatever deal that she's going to set up for you at Tradeport, if she's fully anticipating that she's going to set up a great deal, but out of that great deal, you're only going to get a really good deal, and she's going to benefit the rest.
Okay, so an opportunist, not so much a bad person.
Right.
Yeah. We need to discuss things amongst ourselves and not necessarily in your face, because these are all new developments,
Oh, certainly. Go talk amongst yourselves.
and when we can like just walk a little ways over so she can't really hear what we're saying, and I'm kind of like, I think we ought to try to keep her, but I do not think we ought to let her do our negotiations or anything. I think we can do it just as well as she can without having her reputation. I mean, do we really want to come off as smuggler bandit? Or do we want to come off as, people that are here trying to do an important mission?
It might not hurt at this trade spot, but I think if we're dealing with any of the government entities, she's going to be problematic.
That's what I'm thinking. But I don't want her out running her fucking head either.
But I think where we're headed to, I think she'd probably be helpful.
If we're gonna jump over the week of the jump, man, we can get her and all her people some sedatives and put them in low berths, and then when we need them, we bring them out.
Clone them and get some DNA.
They wake up and there's like 4 of them sitting there having a sandwich and playing cards together.
My butt hurts and I've got a sandwich. What's going on?
Perfectly normal where we come from. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So she does give you guys astrogation data, and she says to get to Tradeport, well, quickest route is to go through Nasir. So Nasir's like a 2-part. It would be 6 parsecs to get to Tradeport. She says, 2 parsec jump to Nasir, and then 4 parsecs to Tradeport, and we're there.
But I mean, your ship's only capable of a jump too. How would you have made that
Well,
second
yeah,
port.
no, I'm thinking from what she shows you guys. She doesn't know how far you can jump. That's the other thing that you get from your surface thoughts. Ideally, she would prefer to show up before you guys got to Tradeport, but traveling with you is a second best to her. And really, it's very close because she's interested in learning more about you guys.
Yeah, she's just trying to find ways to exploit. She'd take our ship from us if she could.
I can give her a shitload of money very, very quickly and easily. It's not a problem.
That's the other thing that she tells you. You might not be able to. So, there are two major types of currency that are spent in the in this area. They are on here. There's the Commonwealth credit, and that is basically based off of the planets in the Commonwealth's GDP as a whole. So all of those worlds in the Commonwealth, their GDP contributes to the value of the credit. And it is mostly an electronic form of currency. There are physical, so these are usually small plaques or coins that are made of ceramic that have electronics built into them, and there is some layers of metal in there, and they are done in such a way that for tech level 12 they are very, very difficult to counterfeit. And the benefit of the Commonwealth credit is that when you hand a Commonwealth credit over, you can use your thumbprint on it, and it can either be set to open, so you can pass it off and spend it, and anybody who takes it can then spend it, or you can set it to be closed. So if you have closed credits, you could go to a bank and say, well, I'm going to deposit this Commonwealth credit that's worth 100, and then draw credit off of it. And the only time that they're able to draw any money from it is if you spend money on credit. And anybody that steals it, because they don't have your thumbprint, they would be unable to do so. So there's that benefit. Then there is the Grand Republic's money, which has a really, really long name. It is the Grand Republic Trade Credit, otherwise known as the TD. And TDs are based on actual gold or platinum or silver. And each TD, they don't specialize in electronic currency. Each coin of differing values is minted with a mix of gold, zinc, platinum, silver, and a lot of copper. And mostly it is like a cultural thing with them that traders really, really get off on slamming down a fistful of credits onto a counter. And it's like this whole thing with them, and they just refuse to go over to an electronic standard. So those are really the two largest the two coinages that are traded in the region, and you don't have any of those. Of course, barter and trade, especially amongst some of the lesser worlds and on Tradeport, is going to be accepted. But
all we do is find whoever is broadcasting entertainment. And then
all I need is a
cut
TV
a deal.
station.
I just need to cut a deal with whoever has the most money putting entertainment out.
I mean, if we seize this smuggler and all her shit, right? She's probably got a little bit of all the currency, and maybe we can, forge it.
She does have some currency, and you could theoretically, possibly I mean, you do have tech level 15 means, so I mean that would be a +3 to deception checks. To
We're going full criminal mode here, then.
Yeah, I mean that is a possibility. But
we can do what we've also done, which is we help them with their own tech.
So for Brian, this is the interior. She gives you a full tour of the ship. These exterior pods, 17 and 17 on either side, they kind of hang down a little bit from the central section, and they have landing gear, and the landing gear can extend as much as 10 meters, so the ship can land, and if there's uneven ground, it can kind of right itself. But these pods are mostly cargo or fuel. So, but they can't do both. So she can fill these pods with enough fuel that she can do 2 jump 2s, or she can fill one pod and do a jump 1, and the other pod can be filled with cargo or what have you. And then, of course, there is the central cargo bay as well. But the other thing, when you come in, you note that like the forward section of both of these pods, she has a setup where the deck plating actually will rise up, and she can actually turn these into basically a large market bazaar. So she can land her ship, open the cargo bay doors, raise these decks up, and the people can just flood in and start purchasing stuff. And she tells Pappy, she said, "Yeah, it's a little trick I learned from the Hakes." She says, "Oh yeah, they're another popular species in the region."
Oh, the squids.
Yeah, Wes is like, "Oh shit, those guys." Yes, those guys.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, is there a place where we could just out and out buy use of a dry dock for however long it takes for us to do our retro, fix our jump drive?
Yes, and
that's there at the trade, and so I mean, maybe she would be interested in counterfeiting.
She, I mean, if you bring that up, she's like, "Of course, I'm interested in it," but
there's no reason to do that. We have stuff to trade that's worth fortunes.
Yeah, she's basically telling you can do exactly what you're saying at Tradeport. You can rent the space for dry dock operations.
It's like going back into medieval days with a 3D printer and making hammers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not. We can trade far better stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Then
she tells you exactly that. She says, there's a lot of money to be made. She goes, I've made a fortune going to some of these low-tech neo-barbarian worlds, and I just go and trade them, drop-forged wrenches and hammers. And I made a fortune.
We've had other places where we've upgraded to help them upgrade their technology.
Well, then, yeah, okay. Let's take her along and go. I guess I don't want her to do her talking. I don't want her to be our middleman.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, I think we can speak for ourselves and all of that better than someone that's trying to do us. She's always going to push an angle that's going to benefit her.
Yeah.
Let's not use the Ferengi.
Yeah. I'm happy to have her help us. I'm happy to have her offer us advice and serve as a guide. She's not a spokesperson for us.
So there will be another week in jump to the Naysir system. Pappy, or I'm sorry, Bocephus, what are you doing during the week in jump?
Is she just her? Does she have a crew?
She has a whole crew. How many are on here? There is her. She's the captain. There's a pilot. There's an astrogator, 2 engineers, a medic, and 4 gunners.
I guess. Oh,
So there's 10 people total.
yeah. I'm gonna spend my week on crew morale.
Okay. Good. Make a science, psychology plus education check.
13.
Nice. So crew morale is actually pretty high. It has maintained since you guys found a way to cross the rift, and pretty much has been staying high. The first place that you came to on Far Shore was a little disappointing, but the crew overall, the morale has stayed high. They are very happy that you have made it across the rift, and things are looking good.
And then on one day during the week, just a quick thing. Could I take my time and try to do a suggestion to the pirate chick?
Sure. What are you suggesting?
That she loves fucking Pappy. Is madly in love and lusting after Pappy.
Go ahead and make a telepathy. I guess that would be, it would be a suggestion. You need to get a 12 or better. Telepathy plus
Right,
psi.
And I'm taking my time.
Yeah, you can take your time.
Thank you. That's 16.
You got it. So she's really interested in Pappy. So Pappy, what are you doing for the week? Are you studying, or are you?
Assuming that happened on day 1 of the week.
Well, no, it'd be day 2 because I had to recharge my psi points from my last little bit. But day 2, yeah, she's fucking looking at that third leg of Pappy, and with her heart.
I am doing some vigorous workouts.
Okay, so Pappy's spending the week doing calisthenics. What's Starter doing?
I'm basically
working on our diplomatic relationship. What are you talking about?
I'm basically starting to prep for whatever we're going to need to do for the jump drives. So if that means we need to start manufacturing small components so that we can begin making larger pieces, whatever it takes.
Okay.
So.
All right. So you are prepping, and this is a good spot to break. We will pick this up next week at 6 o'clock Pacific time on Friday night.
All right. Well, cool.
Perhaps you'll be less inclined to screw us over now.
You what?
Perhaps you'll be less inclined to screw us over now.
Right, yeah.
That's what I was going for strategically. It was like, well, if she falls in love with Pappy and they're fucking, maybe she'll just go with us the rest of the way and won't, stab us in the back. But I'm expecting that the storyline will prove that she's gonna stick a dildo in our ass. We're not gonna like it. It's gonna be terrible.
Juan Solo here.
Yeah.
Hey man, don't judge her on her kinkiness.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you wouldn't mind putting a few cameras in your quarters, we might be able to add to Sarda's
entertainment. Yes,
media. Yeah,
that is not the type of entertainment that I am.
It's all wholesome. It's all Disney Channel.
Every civilization has that type of entertainment, sir.
It's Nickelodeon and Disney Channel only. All right, guys.
I don't include the spy cams of crew members in my deal.
Fair.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, have a good week, you guys. I'll see you next week.